I am beating every N64 game, and I mean all of them. The twist is, the next game I play is randomly selected, so I have no clue what's coming next. This is the journey to beating every N64 game. Game number 55, Pokémon Stadium 2. Released in 2001, this game was developed and published by Nintendo. With well over 300 games to go, we've already drawn the final Pokémon Stadium game. Kind of unfortunate to get them over with so quickly, but that's the way RNG goes. I played this one quite a lot back in the day, probably even more than the first one, mostly playing the minigames with my friends, but I did quite a bit of battling as well. Similar to Pokemon Stadium 1, the way to beat this game is beat the Gem Leader Castle, then all the Stadium Cups, then finally win the battle against the rival. So that's what we'll be doing. I decided to take on the Gem Leader Castle first. Here we take on all 8 Gem Leaders in the Johto region in Gen 2 of the Pokemon games, and followed by the Elite Four. The first thing I had to do is pick my party. Battling is the exact same as Pokemon Stadium 1, where you choose a party of 6 Pokemon, then send 3 of them out to battle. Stadium 2 follows Gen 2 of Pokemon with 100 new Pokemon to choose from, and 2 different types, Dark and Steel. There are a bunch of new moves as well as some balance changes. I decided to check the ones I use frequently in Stadium 1, but this is when I realized things wouldn't be so easy. Haunter was nerfed, Nidoking was nerfed, Jolteon was nerfed, and it wasn't like the new ones made up for the worst movesets. Like Houndour ends up being a better choice than Houndoom because it knows Flamethrower over Houndoom's Ember. However, Houndour has horrible stats, so it ends up just being a poor choice. This is just another case of them wanting you to purchase the Game Boy games to import a good team to play this game properly. The team I went with was Houndour, Electabuzz, Ghastly, Jolteon, Zapdos, and Raikou. A lot of electric types because the first gym leader is Faulkner, the bird trainer. Unlike Pokemon Stadium 1, the gyms in this don't always have 3 regular trainers to battle before the gym leader. Like this first gym only had 1. The battling in this is the same as Pocket Monster Stadium and Pokemon Stadium. You can find my videos on those 2 games in the description below. The regular trainers are usually pushovers, so generally I'll not cover them. I made it to Faulkner and he had a bunch of birds, as you might expect. The battle started with my Electabuzz versus his Fearow. My strat was literally just spam Thunder Punch over and over, and Fearow's was to spam Mud Slap over and over, which lowers my accuracy. Luckily for me, Electabuzz was having a good day and took it down. Then he sent out Togetic. Electabuzz got a lucky paralysis with Thunder Punch, but it wasn't enough, so I sent out Jolteon. An absolute carry in the previous games, it's just not quite as good this time around. Instead of Thunderbolt, it knows Zap Cannon. While being a much more powerful move, it only has 50% accuracy, it's just not reliable at all. Togetic got taken down and then out came Pidgeot, who just dodged me like crazy. My last Pokemon was Ghastly, which looking back, I'm not really sure why I picked it. I tried using Confuse Ray, but Pidgeot was too smart and kicked my butt. I'd lost on the very first gym, rip. However, next time through I wisened up and sent out Raikou and Zapdos, who knew Spark and Thunder respectively. While not the best moves, both their stats are great. Faulkner got absolutely wrecked. Gym 2 is Bugsy, the bug trainer. You don't have to keep the same team throughout the entire castle, you choose your team between gyms. During this selection, I found one of the best rental Pokemon in the game, Fearow. It may come as a surprise, but just due to the bad moves given to most of these, Fearow really stood out. It knew Drill Peck, Hyper Beam, and Toxic. A very solid moveset, and its stats aren't too bad either. Another core mon I found is Kadabra. It had pretty solid stats along with knowing Psychic and Thunder Punch. So I'd made it to Bugsy and I had stacked a lot of fire Pokemon because, well, that's strong against most bugs, right? What I didn't know yet is the fire Pokemon from the rentals are pretty bad. It started off with Houndour versus Scyther. Scyther took me down, but not without taking a lot of damage itself. My Growlithe then finished it off and I was met with a surprise, Pupitar. This thing isn't a bug, like come on, why does he have this? And it hard counters all my fire types. Growlithe and Magmar both got wrecked. Fire's just not the way to go. I could already tell this game was going to be rough. It actually took me quite a few attempts to get past this second gym. That Pupitar was just giving me so much trouble. Like, sure, I could pick Pokemon that counter it, but the AI is programmed to play optimally, so they'll just switch to something else that counters me. And remember, each time I lose to Bugsy, I gotta fight the regular trainers before him over again. After about an hour, I found the answer I was looking for. Skarmory. It countered the bugs by being flying type, and it countered Pupitar by knowing Steel Wing. Skarmory hard carried, taking down every single one of his Pokemon. The first obstacle in this run was down. Gym 3 is Whitney, the normal trainer. You might remember her from the Game Boy games for having the Miltank that knows rollout. Kids all over the world cowered in fear over this thing, including me. I had Skarmory and Steelix for this, as Steel does well against these types. They did pretty good work. It was an even fight. After Steelix had fallen, I had one Mon left, and it was a good one. Primeape. Its stats are alright, but the moves are where it shines, knowing both Dig and Cross Chop. Cross Chop just melted through the rest of her team, like it's such a strong move. Whitney was down first try. Primeape had earned its spot as one of my go-tos in this game. Gym 4 is Morty, the Ghost Trainer. Ghost types had a big change in this game, as the new Dark type is super effective against them. I brought in Raichu, Charizard, and Tyranitar because, well, they seemed like decent choices against Ghost types. But there was a problem. Morty had a Marowak, who I guess fits in with the Ghost lore, but definitely isn't Ghost type. It countered my whole team, and yeah, I got destroyed. The next time though, I was prepared. He swapped a Marowak to kill my Raichu, and I knew he would use a ground type move, so I sent in Charizard to take no damage, then slowly tore through it. I chipped away at his Giraffrig's health, then Tyranitar finished the job, easily taking down Gengar. Gem 5, Chuck, the Fighting Trainer. This is a good time to talk about another new feature in Gen 2, held items. Pokemon can hold an item to help them in battle. There's all kinds of different ones that can be held, and some of them are very powerful, like Leftovers that just heals you every single turn. However, the rental Pokemon can only hold basic berries, which, while they're better than nothing, it's so unfair because a lot of the Pokemon we'll run into have some of those very good items. Take Focus Band for instance. It gives a 12% chance to survive an attack with 1 HP remaining, and, well, maybe this will give you an idea of how rigged this game can be.
What now? That's it! Whoa, that was close.
Oh my god.
There it goes! Whoop,
Thank
that missed.
God.
The finishing blow? It barely managed
Come
to
on!
Vicious attack. Whoa, another missed attack.
My god, dude.
But then
Get this guy out of here.
Now one more. It barely managed to hang on.
What in the world? Oh my god!
Hydro-Pump. There, that worked perfectly.
Oh my god, dude! This is garbage. This game is trash. The worst game ever. You gotta be kidding me. Yep, there was about a 0.16% chance of that happening. The second time around, I brought out Ghastly to tear through his fighting types. Thankfully this time, the Poliwrath didn't cheat the system, then Kadabra finished the job. Another one down. Next is Jasmine, the Steel Trainer. Her gym was nice because there's no regular trainers before her. I sent out Charizard to start and she swapped a Corsola. Hey, what gives? That's not Steel type. So I swapped a Skarmory and they traded blows until Skarmory went down and Primeape finished it off. Steelix came out and I got really unlucky with both Cross Chops missing and Earthquake critting on me. Charizard came back to take down Steelix, then her last Pokemon was Forretress. 4 times super effective in my favor. Heck yeah, dude. Get absolutely owned, Jasmine. After this gym, something unexpected happened. The evil Team Rocket showed up to stop me on my journey through the castle. This had 4 trainers all in a row, so it was pretty frustrating. They typically use poison, dark-like Pokemon, you know, like the evil ones. I started with just some of my core team: Raichu, Kadabra, Charizard, Skarmory, Ghastly, and Fearow. The first 3 trainers, honestly, they weren't bad at all. Psychic types beat the first, Fearow beats the second, and Psychic does well against the third trainer. Then came the final trainer. He had a solid lineup of Houndoom, Golbat, Persian, Mischievous, Victreebel, and Wobbuffet. I quickly learned Wobbuffet was going to be trouble. I used Thunder with Raichu, and it responded with a move called Mirror Coat, which is new to Gen 2. This returns double the damage taken if attacked with a special damage move. Raichu had no chance. Wobbuffet also knows Counter, which is identical except for physical type moves. This thing, it took me down without even doing anything. I just killed myself. I didn't learn till much later how to beat this, but the idea is the AI will expect you to use your strongest moves. So like if you send out Raichu, it expects you to use Thunder rather than Quick Attack. You can beat it pretty easily if you just abuse this, although it's not foolproof. Unfortunately for me, at this time I had no clue about this and I just kept getting wrecked by Wobbuffet. It takes about 20 to 25 minutes just to make it back to the 4th trainer, so losing really sucks. The game features the same amazing animations for every move and all effects of each Pokemon, with 100 new ones in this one. That's a ton of work they did. However, the animations seem to take longer in this game. I think the reason this happened is I had the expansion pack on my N64 and it upscaled the resolution to 480i, but it could just be all in my head, who knows. Anyway, I lost to this guy a lot. My first attempt at switching things up was to sub Skarmory for Rhyhorn and Ghastly for Sandslash. I just needed some ground damage. This wasn't the best idea because the final trainer has a Golbat, who their moves just can't hit. Rip that attempt. Then on the next one I got him to send out Houndoom, perfect for Sandslash. It used Sunny Day, which made me think, oh great, it's just trying to make its fire attacks deal more damage. Yeah, nah, the fire type Pokemon knows Solar Beam for whatever reason. Oh my god. I had been on this event for nearly 3 hours at this point and I was starting to lose faith. I knew something had to change, but what? Felt like no matter what I did, the other trainer would counter me. Enter Magcargo. While this is generally a pretty bad Pokemon, it's honestly perfect here. Being Fire Rock type, it hard counters Houndoom, Victreebel, and Golbat, as well as being strong against Persian. It took down his Victreebel with ease, put in a lot of work toward Houndoom, then Fearow finished the job. My nightmare was over. Well, at least temporarily. It's a long game, you know? After that train wreck, it's Gem 7, Pryce, the ice trainer. For whatever reason, he has a Dawn fan, but that's okay. We can handle anything after Team Rocket. I decided to add a new member to the party on this gym, Lantern. Being water electric type, it has a lot of coverage, and its moves being Hydro Pump with Spark, pretty good as well. Spark definitely could be something better, but hey, it's good enough. Lantern melted through Jinx and Piloswine, then Primate finished the job. What a relief, beating a gym first try after that Team Rocket thing earlier. Then finally it's the 8th gym with Claire, the Dragon Trainer. She has a strong lineup of Kingdra, Ampharos, Dragonair, Rhydon, Arcanine, and Lapras. That Kingdra is a real problem as it's just such a strong Pokemon. Primate barely took Rhydon down, then put some decent damage on Kingdra. Fearow was able to barely finish it off with just 3 HP remaining. Then it immediately died to Arcanine. It all came down to my last Pokemon, and well... I brought Blissey for some reason. Looking back, I don't know what I was thinking here. Arcanine absolutely eviscerated her with extreme speed, and yeah, that was it. This Kingdra was really causing issues. I even tried bringing along Diglett to use Fissure, but the luck wasn't there. There was no alternative. I had to use the forbidden Pokemon, Wobbuffet. You might remember from earlier that Wobbuffet knows both Counter and Mirror Coat, moves that return double the damage if you guess the attack type correctly. Rhydon had no chance, easily taken down in one shot. Kingdra? Not even close, buddy. Get destroyed by Wobbuffet. It did die to Arcanine, but I still had one final trick up my sleeve. Voltorb. It has a great moveset with Thunder, Self-Destruct, and surprisingly, Mirror Coat. Arcanine made a big mistake using Fire Blast. Easy Mirror Coat for the win. Well, I didn't expect him to survive with 5 HP, but this plan seemed like it will work if I just played a little better. Earlier I wasted my Lantern on a Rhydon, so we can win. I'd spent over 2 hours in this gym, and I felt like I knew it all so well. Back to Claire again, I started Wobbuffet against Kingdra. Okay, she's gonna make it use Hydro Pump. But she kept using Headbutt for some reason, so my Mirror Coat kept doing nothing. Thankfully, she swapped to Rhydon for some reason. I Don't know why, but hey, I'll take it. Wobbuffet kicked his butt. My Voltorb killed Dragonair with ease using Mirror Coat, then Kingdra came back out. It felt so satisfying to just self-destruct to blow this thing to smithereens. And a crit as well. Finally, Clair was over with. With all 8 gems completed, it was time. The Elite Four. This was one of the hardest parts of Pokemon Stadium 1, and it's going to be tough here as well. 4 strong trainers, all in a row, followed by the Pokemon Champion. And you can't lose once. You need a really well-rounded team for this, so I went with Kadabra, Voltorb, Lantern, Wobbuffet, Jinx, and Fearow. First up is Will, the Psychic Trainer. The battle started off decently, with both of us taking down 2 of our respective Pokemon. All that was left was my Wobbuffet versus his Xatu. This is when I started to question Wobbuffet's worthiness to be on this team. Counter and Mirror Coat, incredibly strong moves, some of the highest damage you can do. However, if you guess the attack type incorrectly, then they're worthless. And I just kept guessing incorrectly with Xatu. I'm sure if you play the game enough, you could learn exactly how it works to just predict the AI, but I just don't have that much experience. Wobbuffet would stay, but he was quickly losing my trust. The next time around, Will brought Clefable to end, and it typically uses special moves, so Wobbuffet was very effective here. First trainer down. Next is Koga, the Poison Trainer. Hey, didn't this guy used to be a gym leader? This battle started with my Voltorb meeting his dad, Electrode. All he was doing was poisoning me, then spamming double team. So I got fed up and just exploded in his face. Actually, that's what every Pokemon Koga has does. It just uses Toxic, then double team until you slowly die. It's just such an annoying strategy. Thankfully, accuracy was on my side and we took him down on the first attempt. The third battle is against Bruno, the Fighting Trainer. Although he has a Blastoise for whatever reason, Kadabra took down his Heracross in rough fashion, then out came Blastoise. I took a bit of his health with Thunder Punch, which that was great. I had Lantern to counter the Blastoise, so I'm in good shape. Well, that's what I thought. This Blastoise used Headbutt to cause me to flinch, not once, not twice, but 3 times in a row. And one of the headbutts was a crit too. Absolutely unfair, like, come on dude. My Jinx finished off Blastoise, then out came Machamp. Jinx should win this, but again, she got nerfed in this game like many of the others did. She only knows Confusion rather than Psychic, and it's a much weaker move. And yep, I lost. Had to go all the way back to Will. Next time I made it to Bruno, he didn't bring Blastoise and didn't make me flinch 3 times in a row, so Wobbuffet easily took down Machamp, and that was it. Bruno defeated. The final Elite Four trainer is Karen, the Dark Trainer. It started with Wobbuffet against Umbreon. Okay, dark moves are special damage, so I just used Mirror Coat to own this guy. That's when I realized I made a big mistake. What I didn't notice till now is that Mirror Coat is a Psychic type move. In Gen 2, Psychic does not affect Dark types, so yeah, Wobbuffet was literally useless against her entire team. I also brought along Voltorb and Kadabra, both just not good in this matchup. Karen annihilated me, and all the way back to Will once again. I started bringing Primeape in my team to beat her dark Pokemon. I made it back there again and was ready to kick Umbreon's butt. Karen was 5 steps ahead of me though. Every time I would bring out Primeape, she would swap to Gengar. Cross Chop would never hit. Once again, I got wrecked, but I had more knowledge now. Remember the held items from earlier? I can give my Pokemon an item to hold as well, although it's severely limited. There are berries that cure status ailments like freeze, paralysis, and confusion. Every time I brought out Primeape, Karen would confuse it, so by giving it the bitter berry, it would make her waste a turn. I had all the pieces of the puzzle now. Back to Karen again, she sent out Umbreon against Primeape. She's gonna swap to Gengar, I thought, so I'll dig in anticipation. But to my surprise, she didn't. Well, if she's gonna be doing this, I'll just use Cross Chop, and bam, absolutely owned. Then came Victory Bell, who I had Fearow to kill, and finally Magmar, who got wrecked as well. The Elite Four had been defeated. It took quite a while, and my celebration was only minor, cause I still had to beat Lance, the Pokemon Champion. If I lose to him, it's all the way back to Will once again. Lance's lineup is just terrifying. He has Dragonite, Tyranitar, Charizard, Aerodactyl, Steelix, and Gyarados. I had no idea what team to bring. So I went with Jinx, Lantern, Lantern, and good old Wobbuffet. It started with Jinx versus Tyranitar. Miserable matchup, so I swapped to Lantern. I did some good damage, but it killed me with Hyper Beam. I brought Jinx back to finish the job since it needed to recharge. Then came Gyarados. Jinx did decent damage, but once again, Hyper Beam was my demise. All I had left was Wobbuffet. Oh god, this guy's screwed up so many times, like, please, if I can just choose correctly once in my life, let it be here. Gyarados chose Surf, and I chose Miracle. He went down, and I only had 145 HP to take on Dragonite. His physical attack stat is insane, and I just wish I had a little more HP. Well, I told Wobbuffet to use Counter, and then just hoped for the best. Oh my god. Oh! Oh my god!
What's this? A heavy hit!
Yes! Let's go! Wobbuffet carrying the team! Somehow, Wobbuffet survived that. I don't know if it was like a low damage roll or what, but who cares? I had beaten Lance on the very first try. Who knows how much time that saved me and having to repeat the Elite Four over and over each time I wanted to fight him. Man, I was so happy, like that felt great. My celebration was cut short as I was immediately informed I needed to take on all of the gym leaders from the Kanto region as well. I remember being so hyped that you got to visit this region in the Game Boy games, but in this, I was just fatigued from all that battling. Over 10 hours just to beat the Johto gyms. Thankfully, the gyms are only the gym leaders, no basic trainers to fight before them. You know the drill, we've already done this in Stadium 1. I fought through Brock, then Misty, then Lieutenant Surge, then Erica, then Janine, who is Koga's daughter, then Sabrina, then Blaine, and finally Blue, who is the rival from Gen 1 and took over for Giovanni. The toughest one was Lieutenant Surge just because that Raichu that knows Surf. Once you've beaten them all, the leaders get together and inform you you've earned the right to challenge the final trainer in the Gym Leader Castle. And who is it? None other than Red, of course. Although his team isn't the same as Pokemon Gold Silver at all. He has Meganium, Feraligatr, Typhlosion, Jolteon, Scizor, and Tauros. My goodness. It started out with Lantern versus his Typhlosion. Amazing matchup. I couldn't one-hit it and it used Dig, so I swapped to Fearow to make it deal 0 damage. It hit me with Thunder Punch, which obviously paralyzed me because it's rigged, and obviously I wasn't able to move, even more rigged. Kadabra killed Typhlosion, but Tauros just wrecked the rest of my team. Oh my god, bad RNG. Next attempt I had other plans. It started with Lantern against Jolteon. Lantern did well enough to take it down, and out came Tauros. Lantern got destroyed, so I sent in my secret weapon. Wobbuffet, of course. Tauros brought its own demise with Hyper Beam, then out came Feraligatr. There is one move Wobbuffet has that I haven't talked about yet, and it's a pretty good one as well. Destiny Bond. This move needs to be used just before the opponent kills you. If you time it right, it kills them as well, no matter what. And it worked beautifully here. Red was down and the entire Gym Leader Castle with it. It congratulates you for beating Gym Leader Castle, and man, I feel like I earned it. That was way harder than Stadium 1. For beating it, you unlock the Doduo Game Boy, which allows you to play Game Boy Pokemon games at double speed within Pokemon Stadium 2. Well, that's about half the game done. Strap in, it's a long one. The other thing required to beat this game is beating all cups within the stadium. There's the Challenge Cup, Little Cup, Pokey Cup, and Prime Cup. I decided to start with the Little Cup, which only includes level 5 Pokemon. Strategy is absolutely key here rather than relying on good RNG or just a stronger team. Speed seemed to be the best stat to have because it's very likely you'll die in one hit. Abra, Voltorb, Ponyta, Totodile, Spearow, and Diglett was the team I went with. Another big thing in this cup is the berries. The ones that cure status ailments are nice, sure, but there's one that's insanely strong here, and that's just the regular old berry. It restores 10 HP, which is awful with high level Pokemon, but on a level 5, that's like over half your health. It would come in clutch a lot. The cups are the exact same format as Pokemon Stadium 1. You have to fight 8 trainers in a row without losing. If you beat a trainer without any of your Pokemon feigning, then you gain 1 extra continue. So it was worth it for me to keep resetting on the first trainer until I got a perfect clear, which is exactly what I did. I didn't really struggle at all here till the 5th trainer, so jump ahead to there. It started with my Totodile versus his Smoochum. Unfortunately, I was slower and lost the battle due to not killing it in one hit. Spearow took down Smoochum, then out came the bane of my existence, Mareep. I swapped to Abra and it killed me in one hit despite Abra's good stats. Spearow never had a chance. I'd lost. I only had one continue, so I had to win this next battle or else. Next time I tried Diglett versus his Smoochum. Diglett knows a move called Magnitude, which varies greatly. It gives a magnitude value from 4 to 10, with the higher number being more powerful. It can go as high as 10 power with a magnitude 4 up to 150 power on magnitude 10. The numbers in the middle are much more likely though. I got a magnitude 8, which is honestly decent, but it just wasn't enough to one-shot the Smoochum. Diglett got wrecked. Ponyta finished it off, then out came Growlithe, and of course it knows Dig, which counters me. Ponyta fainted and I had Abra versus his last Pokemon, and of course it was Mareep. I'm faster, but it didn't matter. I didn't one-shot it, and it did one-shot me. All the way back to the start. Oh my gosh. I decided to research the Pokemon a bit more here and made some changes to the team. Abra, Horsey, Doduo, Mankey, Voltorb, and Phanpy was the new lineup. Horsey's a much faster water type than Totodile, and Doduo knows Tri-Attack. Mankey knows Cross Chop, and Phanpy, it knows Earthquake. This time around, Mareep missed with Thunder, and I won easy. Even got a perfect clear for a continue. There was no trouble with this team up till the final trainer. It started with Abra versus his Ghastly. An easy counter for me, awesome. Psychic just destroyed it. Then out came Chansey, which is a bad matchup, so I sent out the cutest Pokemon of all time, Phanpy. Like, come on, dude, it's just a little baby elephant thing, it's so cute. Earthquake did insane damage and Chansey was no match. They sent out Magby and I had Doduo to go against it. What?
I
missed.
That missed.
Clutch.
Vicious attack. Hit.
Oh.
How will this big freeze affect
Get
me?
wrecked. You know what? Watching this back, I'm realizing that while I did get unlucky a lot throughout this game, I also got lucky just as often. I guess the RNG always does even out. That was the little cup down. It shows your lineup used in like a credits type way and you get a nice trophy for winning. Next I took on the Prime Cup where all Pokemon are level 100. These Pokemon have the same moves they had in the Gym Leader Castle, just they're level 100 now instead of 50. I decided to roll with some familiar faces. Lantern, Kadabra, Fearow, Dugtrio, Jinx, and Primeape. One highlight here is the second trainer. He had a Wobbuffet and man, I did him dirty. Fearow knows Toxic and it's faster, so I poisoned it. Since Wobbuffet only knows reactive moves, like it can't damage you on its own, I just kept reusing Toxic to stall the turns out while it slowly died from poison. It's a lame strat, but hey, it got me a free perfect clear. The next struggle was Trainer 6. All his Pokemon would immediately confuse me, which is really annoying. This battle would be incredibly easy if you just never hurt yourself, but it's a 50-50 chance. And I lost that coin flip so many times. Plus his Ninetales had a Focus Band, an item way better than any item I can get. Lantern was my final hope. I only had to attack once, but Ninetales is much faster and immediately confused me. First roll, I hit myself. Second, hit myself again. I had to hit on this third confusion roll or I was done for. And thankfully, finally, luck was on my side. I nearly got screwed out of a win there. So I'd made it to the final trainer without losing, and man, he had a stacked lineup. Ursaring, Starmie, Umbreon, Muck, Tyranitar, and Mew? Come on, dude, I want to use that Pokemon. How come he gets to? It started with my Primeape versus his Mew. Miserable matchup, so I had to swap to Kadabra. It did some decent damage to Mew, but it was never gonna win this matchup. I had to send in Fearow, but Mew knows Thunder Punch, so this isn't good. Thankfully, it used Blizzard for some reason and missed. Exactly what I needed. I reacted with Hyper Beam, but that missed. But then Mew missed with Blizzard a second time. Wow. Out came Ursaring, who one-shot Fearow, then I only had Primeape left. It destroyed Ursaring with ease, then the final Pokemon was Umbreon. Absolutely amazing, Primeape is a complete counter here. To my surprise, I beat this trainer on the very first try, and the Ultra Cup was down. We get an even cooler looking trophy for this one. The next one I went for was the Pokey Cup. This follows competitive rules where Pokemon can be in the range level 50 to 55, but your total Pokemon level can't exceed 155. Since rental Pokemon are rigged, all mine are level 50. The Pokey Cup has 4 sub-cups within it, so I'll skip ahead to the final one. A couple changes to the team here. I added in Donphan as it's pretty tanky and knows both Earthquake and Rollout. However, it's fairly slow. Then a surprising choice, Pineco. It's completely useless except for one thing, Explosion. This attack will kill Pineco, but also deal insane damage to whoever it's facing. Basically, if the other trainer has a problematic Pokemon, I can use this to take it out. I was honestly cruising my way through this cup despite the other trainers having better Pokemon with even higher levels. That's when I got to trainer 5, Molly. She started with Girafarig, which isn't too special. It was just using Double Team and Agility to increase its evasion and speed. That's alright, it's not that strong. Then the Nightmare started. It used a move called Baton Pass. This move is so broken that people were telling me it's banned in many competitive settings. Baton Pass allows you to swap to a new Pokemon while keeping the stat changes of the current one. So out came a tanky Lapras with high evasion and speed. Literally nothing I could do against this. This is where Pineco can be pretty useful. To avoid all this Baton Pass nonsense, I just used Explosion with it to one-shot Girafarig. Then it was a rough battle with my Lantern vs Lapras. Lantern managed to come out on top, then Mr. Mime killed it. My Fearow came in clutch and I took down Mr. Mime with Hyper Beam, and it was over. However, I'd lost all my continues with 3 trainers still to go. Trainer 6 was easy, Trainer 7 though was a different story. This dude has Typhlosion and Feraligatr, both level 52. Typhlosion knows Flamethrower and Dig, while Feraligatr knows Earthquake. Like, come on man, these are strong Pokemon with even stronger moves. I want these guys. I sent out Lantern to beat Typhlosion, and he either uses Dig or swaps to Feraligatr to Earthquake. It was pretty ugly. RIP. So I just started all over and climbed my way back. This time I was prepared. I sent out Lantern and he sent out Typhlosion. This time he brought Meganium instead of Feraligatr and swapped to it. So I swapped to Pineco and just blew it up. Primeape took down his Granbull with ease, then Lantern was able to finish off Typhlosion. 1 trainer to go. This final trainer though just had an absurd lineup. Aerodactyl, Machamp, Kingdra, Dragonite, Tyranitar, and Charizard. What the actual heck, dude? I sent out Lantern against Charizard. Lantern kicked its butt, then out came Dragonite. Lantern knows one other damaging move, Flail. This deals increased damage based on how low your HP is. Lantern has a miserable physical attack stat though, so it didn't deal too much, even though I only had 6 HP. I sent in Pineco to blow up the Dragonite, then it was a 1 vs 1, Primeape vs Kingdra. A fair matchup, honestly. I just needed Cross Chop to get a crit, which it's honestly pretty likely to do. And well, not only did I not get a crit, I even missed. This trainer it had me completely stuck. And it's the very last one, so if you lose, you have to do the 7 previous trainers all over again. So this is the part where the video gets a bit controversial. I learned people speedrun this game using rental Pokemon, and I was too curious as to what their strats were, so I looked it up and looked into it. It seems a very good team to pick here is Fearow, Kadabra, Hitmonlee, Voltorb, Sandslash, and Corsola of all Pokemon. Fearow, Kadabra, Voltorb, and Sandslash have made appearances in my team before, so that's not too surprising. The others, though, have not. Hitmonlee knows High Jump Kick, which deals major damage, as well as Meditate to raise its attack power even further. Corsola is decent, knowing Surf and Ancient Power, but the main thing is its typing. It'll get the AI to do things not in its own best interest. Now, you may be thinking, so he looked at a good team, that's not that big of a deal. Well, yeah, it's not that bad. That's not the controversial part. The team wasn't the only thing I learned watching the speedrun. There's also a bug in this game that changes everything completely. If you have at least one continue earned, you can trick the game into letting you use that one continue infinitely. The devs were kind enough to allow you to save your progress mid-cup, so you don't have to sit there forever to beat it in one sitting. If you save your progress, then start a new run at the cup, you can try to save your game again. It will warn you like, hey, you already have a save file for a different cup, and ask if you want to overwrite it. If you choose no, then the game just doesn't use your continue and it lets you keep going. It seems like a big oversight by the devs. And well, yeah, I use the heck out of this thing. Now hear me out. This game is insanely rigged, like an early example of pay to win. If I had a copy of gold or silver lying around and trained up a team on there with actual good moves, this game would be so easy. The rental Pokemon are bad on purpose to try to get people to purchase the Game Boy games. Like, I don't know, that's my justification. With this at my disposal, I made my way back to the final trainer. First, I took down Kingdra in one shot with Voltorb's Mirror Coat. Suffering from success there, Kingdra. Then I had it explode on Tyranitar, which didn't do much at all. Hitmonlee absolutely owned it, and then Machamp was the last Pokemon in my way. Hitmonlee couldn't finish the job, but I had Kadabra waiting, who's a direct counter. Finally, I was done with the Pokey Cup in its entirety. Good riddance. The only thing left was the Challenge Cup. This is brand new to Pokemon Stadium 2, and it's honestly really cool. Instead of relying on rental Pokemon, the game gives you a predetermined set of them, and you have to beat 8 trainers with them. This one's also split into 4 sub-cups. In the first one, you have Cyndaquil, Marill, Larvitar, Magnemite, Paris, and Smeargle. I like this mode a lot because even if you had like a super overpowered team from the Game Boy, you'd still have to beat this without using them. None of the trainers in this cup were tough, honestly. I had a direct counter to most Pokemon until the final trainer, but even then it was just a Drowsy. I kicked its butt, kicked Wooper's butt, then kicked Mareep's butt. First cup down. In the second cup, I was given Magcargo, Clefairy, Kabuto, Butterfree, Gloom, and Pikachu. Honestly, a lot of this cup was just Kabuto rolling over the enemy after building up Rollout. It's a move that gets stronger every turn you use it. This wasn't too tough. Pikachu was also solid with Thunder Wave and Thunder Punch. Butterfree knew Psychic, and well, Kabuto just rolled over everyone. Trainer 4 was kind of funny. It started out with Magcargo versus Magcargo. Kind of like that Spider-Man pointing at each other meme. I spammed double team until my evasion was maxed out, then just destroyed everybody. The final trainer, defeated by one little rolling rock. Another one down. The third cup gave me the interesting team of Vileplume, Slowbro, Noctowl, Hitmonchan, Pupitar, and Ponyta. The Noctowl they gave is literally useless, so I essentially had 5 Pokemon. The fourth trainer was the first rough point here. It had a Lantern, which just has such good typing. My best chance was having either Dynamic Punch hit or it killing itself in confusion from Swagger. Thankfully, it decided to beat itself up. Barely escaped this one, with Ponyta hitting Venomoth at the last chance. Trainer 7 was the only other challenge. We had a tough battle with my Hitmonchan versus his Girafarig. Then I had Vileplume finish it off. To my surprise, the next Pokemon they sent out was Vileplume. Another copycat. So instead I swapped to Slowbro and just annihilated it with Psychic. Then I had Vileplume finish the job, then easily beat the enemy Pupitar. Third cup down. For the final cup, I was actually given a pretty solid team. Scizor, Porygon 2, Jolteon, Charizard, Rhydon, and Victreebel. Jolteon knew Thunder, Rhydon knew both Rollout and Earthquake, and Victreebel knew Razor Leaf. The others, well, they have good stats at least. To be honest, none of these battles were very tough at all. It's crazy how different it is when the teams are actually balanced out by the devs. There's a clear winning strategy for every battle because the devs knew which team and which moves you would have. Skipping ahead to the final trainer, I sent out Rhydon against Meganium. Absolutely horrible, so I swapped to Charizard, which caused them to swap to Poliwrath. This is a bad matchup for me, but the enemy Poliwrath only knows Water Gun, so it doesn't deal much damage. I just spammed Fly until it eventually died since I was faster. Then out came Steelix, who, yeah, Charizard destroys this dude. Plus I got lucky with a burn. And finally Meganium came back and Charizard once again destroyed the competition. Finally, I had beaten every cup in the stadium. For doing this, you obtain the Dodrio Game Boy, which allows you to play Game Boy games at triple speed. This was awesome to have back in the day, it just saves so much time. Now the sky turns dark and it directs me to a cave in the corner. This is the fight with the rival. We have to assemble a team of 6 Pokemon to take on their ridiculous team of Mewtwo, Ho-Oh, and Lugia. How did they get all these legendaries? My first thought was just do what I did in Stadium 1 against Mewtwo. Pick a bunch of people with one-hit KO moves. This was an incredibly horrible idea, but surprisingly it went pretty well. Seaking took down Ho-Oh in one strike, then out came Lugia. Surprisingly, Goldeen took it down in one try as well. I was pretty shocked, honestly. All that was left was Mewtwo, and things were a bit different here. All my remaining Pokemon were easily one hit by Mewtwo's Psychic, so yeah, this plan wasn't gonna work. So instead I went back to old reliable. First came Mewtwo versus my Voltorb, and it got wrecked by Voltorb's Mirror Coat. Out came Ho-Oh, who I used Self-Destruct on. Then it was time for my secret weapon. Wobbuffet, of course. As soon as it used Sacred Fire, it was dead from Mirror Coat. And finally, I just spammed Destiny Bond against Lugia until it killed me, causing it to die as well. The rival was beaten on the second try. When you beat the rival, it shows a very long cutscene where it shows all 251 Pokemon in the game appearing in a black void. Kinda reminds me of that Gotta Catch 'Em All song, you know, they used to play it back in the day. And then finally the credits roll. Game complete. For beating the entire game, we get a present. The amazing reward of a Farfetch that knows Baton Pass. Yep, that was totally worth it. So for doing all that insane grinding through all those battles, we finally get to treat ourselves to the best part of the entire game. The mini-games. These were great in Pokemon Stadium 1, and they're even better in the sequel in my opinion. They changed the format a bit in that a dice roll is used to decide how many coins each win is worth. Man, I have so many memories of playing these with my friends, and the competition, it got pretty heated. So many good games to play here, like Gutsy Golbat for instance. Just a bunch of bats flying around wildly and you try to steal hearts from each other. This one, honestly, it's absolute chaos, especially with all the Magnemites floating around. Another new thing is if 2 people tie in a minigame, it breaks the tie by having you answer a trivia question. I'm not the most knowledgeable with this game, but I know a decent bit. Then there's Topsy-Turvy, where a group of Hitmontop see who can get a concussion first. This is basically Beyblades, but with Pokemon. You have to use an attack to knock the others out of the ring. First to knock 5 others out wins. And of course, Rampage Rollout, where a group of Donphans run around in a circle over and over for some reason. Everyone runs at the same speed, but you gain tornado power-ups to stop the others in order to help you catch up if you're behind. This one, it's just okay. Then one of the most memorable minigames for me, Clear Cut Challenge. Here you play as either a Pinsir or a Scyther and cut a log at a certain spot. This one, it gets pretty intense. Basically, you don't know when the log's going to drop, and you gain more points based on how close you were cutting it to the marked line. When you get a perfect cut, it feels great because the screen flashes and you just know that you nailed it. And of course, a classic, Barrier Ball. Here a bunch of Mr. Mimes are launching Pokeballs at each other. I feel this type of minigame is used in a lot of games. I specifically remember this being a big thing in Crash Bash on the PlayStation 1. Regardless though, it's a great minigame and this is one of the best ones. And there's Pichu's Power Plant. This is an extension of a minigame from Stadium 1 where you either mash the A or B button depending on what color shows up. In this one it's even crazier because you have to hold a certain direction when you mash. Yeah, I mean it's just button mashing, not much more to it. Then another stressful but fun minigame, Eager Eevee. A group of Eevees are moving around in a circle while an Aipom teases them by hiding some fruit under a basket. When the Aipom lifts up, you have to be the fastest one to dash in and grab it, but sometimes there's a pinecoat hidden underneath and it blows you up. You have to sit out the next turn if you go for it. Another minigame is Delibird's Delivery. Here, Delibird is in its natural habitat, filling a sack with presents such as candy, Game Boys, or the exclusive Pikachu edition N64. You can fit up to 5 presents in your sack, and the more you put in, the slower you move. Unfortunately for Delibird, there's a group of Swinubs running across the area, and if you run into them, all the presents spill out. This one, it's a lot of fun. By far my favorite minigame though is Egg Emergency. In this one you play as Chansey and a bunch of eggs and occasionally Voltorbs fall from the sky. You have to press either L or R or neither to catch an egg to your left, right, or center respectively. 100 eggs in total fall, and I just remember I used to be able to get a perfect score every time back in the day. I absolutely love this one. And there's even more! Furret's Frolic has a group of Furrets fighting over a series of balls that roll into the arena. You have to jump to bop the balls towards your goal. The bigger balls are worth more, with the rare Master Ball being worth 5 points. It usually got pretty heated with my friends when one of those came out. Then there's Tumbling Togepi, where it looks like they reworked Run Rattata Run from the first game. This one's much nicer in that you don't have to button mash. You just run towards the screen and move left or right to avoid all the obstacles and hit as many boosts as possible. Solid minigame. And last but not least, Streaming Stampede. This one is simple. You just press the A button to count how many of a certain Pokemon you see. The best part is the final round where it's just an absolute mass of Pokemon running by and it feels impossible to count them. Usually I just end up mashing the button a bunch here and hope for the best. Whew, so there you have it, my journey to beating Pokemon Stadium 2. This game had a lot to live up to, with the first being such a success, and honestly I think Nintendo nailed it. They did a great job introducing all the new Pokemon to the game, keeping all the great 3D animations for all of them and all the new moves. Plus being able to upscale the graphics with the expansion pack is cool too. The Challenge Cup was a great addition in that you didn't need to have a Game Boy or rely on rental Pokemon to beat it. The minigames, they're just so much fun, a big improvement over the old one. I really hope this game ends up on Nintendo Switch Online. However, one thing really bothered me with this game, and that's just how much they nerfed the rental Pokemon from the first game. It seems like Nintendo just wanted to make the player feel obligated to train up a team from the Game Boy games. It feels really similar to a modern pay-to-win model in my eyes. Like, they're so much worse than this one compared to Stadium 1. But in the end, it's not a huge factor in the game itself. I gave it a 7 out of 10 for enjoyability because battling trainers over and over does get kind of repetitive. This game really shines in multiplayer, and an 8.5 out of 10 for difficulty because, man, those rental Pokemon are just not good. But yeah, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you did enjoy the video, consider giving it a like, as it does help the channel a lot. And if you like this series, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. But yeah, thanks for watching, and here's a sneak peek at what is coming next. We have 336 games on the list. Any of them could be selected, but let's see what we get. 3, 2, 1, go. 195. What's that? Oh man. We're playing basketball. We're playing Kobe Bryant's NBA Courtside. I actually had this game. It's pretty fun.